Welcome to Living Martial Arts with Master Ray Gale, aka the Dark Master. Living Martial Arts discuss and examines the everyday exercise, philosophy, and lifestyle of the martial arts enthusiast. The host talks about his own training, past and present, and he also interviews many martial artists to discover how they continue to live their own martial arts journey. Tune in for top tips on how to get the best out of your martial art. Or perhaps you're thinking of starting a martial art. This podcast offers you an easy way to dip your toe in. Sign up for the newsletter at livingmartialarts.com and get regular updates and training tips direct to your inbox. Follow the Dark Master on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Living Martial Arts.
Hi, well, hello to all the Living Martial Arts podcast fans. Hopefully it's growing as time goes on. Well, we have got a fantastic guest today and somebody that I've known for a long time and is very close to my heart. We've got Mr. Phil Whitlock, who's got a fantastic story to tell. And, hopefully, I'm sure you'll love it. So how are you doing, Phil? Are you okay?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure and an honour, as always, sir. As always.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to crack straight on with the my first sort of question, really. I mean, I know a lot about your martial arts journey, but I'm sure a lot of people listening to this who know you don't realise how long you've done martial arts, when you started, and some of the other things that perhaps you've dabbled with as well. So perhaps you can give us an overview. I know, again, this could take literally hours for everybody that does this, but go for it.
I'll try and keep it concise. So yeah.
That's all right. You go for it.
I started martial arts at Yate Taekwondo School when I was 7 years old under yourself, sir. My brother came home one day and said he wanted to do karate or some kind, that was the only sort of martial art we did sort of heard of, and came across you. And our main inspirations were the Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and just being kids and flinging your arms around looked a lot of fun. So we went for it, and I was very lucky. My parents put us into lots of different sports and activities. Basically, every evening we would come home from school, eat or nap or whatever, and then we'd be going out doing something physical. And fell in love with Taekwondo, competed a lot.
Yeah, you did. What age? I can't remember. I mean, it's not that my memory is going, but a lot was happening. A lot was happening at that time. And just to say, as you mentioned there, it was yourself and your. I mean, I was privileged to have both of you, yourself and your brother, in my class. Any instructor will know that students who go from white belt to black belt, as juniors, you get attached in a big way to them. But yeah, what age?
So I was 7. So my brother started when he was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And at the time, where we did lots of things together, where I was just 18 months old, I was always a little bit better than him at what we did. So my parents said to me, if Taekwondo is going to be Michael's thing, if after a year of him training, if you still want to do it, then you can join in. And I waited a year, and I sat at the back with my Beano comic and sort of look up, watch the class a little bit, and then back to the comic. And then after a year, I started. In fact, actually, I think you released a VHS video in maybe '94, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. I remember it.
A mix of patterns, sparring routines, etc. And there's a brief glimpse of me at the back with my dandy or Beano comic or whatever it was, and my brother stood at the back with his covering his face, not really doing Taekwondo very well, bless him, because he was extremely shy and
he was,
and a lot of people that meet him now really cannot relate to that, or barely believe me, because he's a very outgoing person now. But he puts that all down to yourself and taekwondo. So it's you're saying about sort of the relationship between particularly somebody that comes in a child and then you see them grow into an adult. I've sort of had a small part of that with myself with my school, and particularly the Gould brothers, them sort of coming in as little children, and now seeing them going to university and representing England and stuff like that. Really, it does create a bond, and I wouldn't be the person that I was without yourself, taekwondo, and obviously everyone involved. But it's very, very much down to yourself. So it's almost hard to I don't know a life. I can't remember too much when I was 5 or 6 before I did taekwondo. So I've grown up not really knowing any different, and maybe when I was younger taking that for granted. But now as an adult, I'm just so thankful that yourself, and obviously that I had supportive parents that would allow me the opportunity to do that. And it was a bit of a shock, sort of making the England team for the first time. It was completely out of the blue. I'd basically lost for 5 or 6 years and just, never won a tournament. And then Puma was formed, won the British Championships, and then next thing I know, I was doing trials in Leicester, and then I blinked and I was in Argentina with a big Argentinian trying to kick me in the head. And
I remember it well.
So, and that was really like the main. But I came back from that competition, and I was like, okay, I'm doing this now. Like forget everything else. I'm doing this and putting everything I've got into trying to reach my potential, especially competition wise. Obviously I very much appreciate the variety that martial arts brings to you, and actually listened to your last podcast this morning, and you were saying about sort of people pick different directions with Mr. McLaren, and see myself similar to yourself. Obviously the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. I chose the competition route, just I've got to travel the world and have so many experiences and just learn so much about life, the world, myself, what I'm capable of, what I'm not capable of, and I'm just so thankful for that.
No, that's brilliant. Well, a couple of things that you said there. I mean, the first thing is that I will say, when your brother started, he was such a shy little boy. I think it took him a couple of years to actually say something to me first before I'd speak to him and he'd hide. And as you say, looking at him now, a confident individual and life and soul, so to speak, you would never think that. But I think that's what first of all, that's what martial arts does for you. The second thing is, I think that you've taught as well, and I know that for me, when you get someone like yourself and your brother in a class who work hard, they're determined, it's reciprocal. You bounce off. And I always say, my students make me what I am. And particularly those students you think, wow, when they are in the class is a different class, and that really comes across. The other thing that I will say, and going back to the competition point, I'm not sure whether, don't get me wrong, I didn't start taekwondo to do competitions, and I think competitions chose me because I love the challenge more than anything, and I love the physical challenge more than anything, and I'm very competitive. So I don't know how you think of it. I think probably competitions probably chose you in a way, because you were very, very determined. You were a very, very determined boy and man, and I don't think people realise that actually it's not that you start to compete, but you just want to challenge yourself. I don't know, what would you say about that?
Yes, on reflection, I think that probably is correct. At the time, it did. I was never. I look back to when I was younger. I was never sort of confrontational. I was very. I wasn't as reserved as my brother was, but I I never had any conflict in my life, or a lot of particularly sort of professional fighters, and dip my toe in there. A lot of them come from sort of backgrounds where confrontation is part of their life, and then they sort of use that as a vehicle, put it into martial arts. Whereas I didn't have that, and that. I just kind of started competing because sort of other people were doing it, and I wanted to, sort of thing. And then, I'm guessing maybe, I think sort of puberty. I think there was a timing between like hitting puberty, having that lot of testosterone as a young man, and then having some success in competition to go, it's like, okay, here's an avenue where I can apply myself and my energies, and then because there was a part of my formative years, it was like I just sort of never looked back. And
sure,
very sorry if you've got screaming.
Oh no, that's okay. That's okay. This is real. This is real life.
Yeah.
No.
Recent new dad issues. I'm just
go for it.
New dad issue, screaming babies, but which is part of the new challenges that I guess. But yeah, I just never look back, and then I don't know. I kind of look back and I sort of wonder, like, how did I get to this point? And as you say, which I guess kind of lends me now to, like, I guess I was just, it was. I don't know whether, I guess it was a combination of nature and nurture. Yeah, and the timing being right that sort of led me into that, and it just sort of gave me like a model for life quite early on as a young man, and the sort of challenges, those things that you want, an identity, etc. When you're a teenager, you're looking for your identity, and I remember coming back from Argentina. If I had time out of school to go and compete internationally, come back, win medals and stuff like that, and I like the when you were at that age, like you sort of think, oh, this feels quite good,
Yeah.
And then obviously as you get older, you realise that actually it's got nothing to do with that. It's the process and the learning and the challenges, and obviously a lot of people listening will be aware that I recently stepped away from martial arts for a little while for sort of various reasons, but I'm still like I'm still a martial artist in my head, and I've kind of tested the waters in another sport now, and I'm sort of learning a new activity. As a martial artist, and with other people that are going through that same process, I can now see easily the differences between the way I'm looking at it and analysing it and what they're doing. Yeah. Which highlights the kind of applicability that martial arts gives you in different avenues of your life. And I remember years ago, you probably don't remember, so it's probably sort of dismemory, but I remember saying to you, like, all I'm really good at is taekwondo. It's all I've really got. And you said to me that it was like, no, this is just the thing that you've stuck with. You can apply yourself to something else, and you'll be equally as successful. And at the time I sort of thought, oh, okay, yeah, maybe. And then now as an older man, that rings true. Like, you were right. A lot of things that you said to me over the years that maybe took a little while to sink in, but you always turned out to be right, sir.
Well, no, thanks for that. Well, it's only because I've used myself, really. Recently, I put something on Facebook, and it was me when I did a little bit of trapeze. People go, "Oh wow, it's fantastic!" But I said to a few people, to be honest, that was martial arts. That was my determination for martial arts, because actually it was so hard doing that. I was never going to give up. I was never going to give up, even though it was physically quite tough and very, very different, because of that martial arts attitude. And I think, if you look at yourself, you've been doing martial arts for a long time. I mean, you've come to a point where actually, you've got a very strong mind and a very strong spirit. So you can apply yourself to other things. And, the people listening to this, just take that on board really, because you can apply the same determination, the same attitude, that same martial arts mindset to so many other things, to bring whatever success is in your life, whatever you deemed as successful. It's not always about financial success, but whatever you want to do, and I think that shows with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Actually, I've got a basketball grading coming up soon.
Oh wow!
Because I'm viewing. So I've been playing a lot of basketball. So I've joined a local team, and I'll be suiting up, playing in sort of local league, proper five-a-side basketball for the first time in a couple of weeks, and I've sort of had that in my head. I was like, okay, I started about like maybe 18 months ago or so. I thought, okay, I need something physical that I can do, and that adapts me. Also, I have a lot of pain from sort of as a hangover from my competitive career, and I sort of needed to find something that was sort of competitive, but I could kind of do long term, that also suited a family lifestyle, etc. And I played basketball when I was younger, and actually was I turned up to a British Championships once with a twisted ankle, and Master Osborne said to me, Phil, are you in the England basketball team? I went, oh no, sir, I'm not that good. He went, oh, okay, well, you are in the England Taekwondo team. So if you could stop doing that and come turning up injured because of playing other sports, then that. And so from there, I was like, yes, sir, and just stopped everything and just focused on Taekwondo, which I'm glad he did. But now I've sort of got that time to like reignite that passion and then learn. And my mindset, I was sort of, okay, I've got my goal setting, so either from a grading or tournament and stuff like that. It's okay, I've got this event coming at this time. I've got this amount to prepare. I set myself sort of realistic goals, what I want to be achieving. And I needed to sort of change my body type to suit the game. And it's been really, really fun being a basketball white belt again. And every training session, here's a whole new technique, here's a whole new move. It's been really refreshing for me, because obviously, martial arts is a never-ending journey, and my journey isn't over in martial arts. Like it's sort of more of a sabbatical
sure.
Of some kind, but
that's good to hear.
But definitely from competing, though. Definitely retired.
Oh no, that's fine.
Well, who knows? When I become the veterans category,
it's tough. It's tough to know when to stop. Believe me, I know that full well, really, to be honest. But no, it's great. And as I said, I think the skills, a lot of those skills, particularly the mental skills, are transferable to anything you do. So good on you, really. And I think anybody else just taking on board. I mean, you've got a huge martial arts journey, and I want to ask you about some more as well that you've done. Because not many people go from, say, Taekwondo into the ring to do kickboxing, for example. I know you did. I dabbled with it myself in the ring, and to see what it was like, to see what the pressure was like and how different it was. And it was very, very different. I remember being there at your first kickboxing fight, and I got to be honest, it scared me to death. I was thinking, oh my, it was like me taking every single blow that you were taking. But I don't know, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about that and why the switch at the time.
So yeah, it's I decided that first night that I walked in through the ropes, that was the first time I kind of properly been in a ring properly to do kickboxing. But yeah, there was a show on locally, and I just thought, I don't have a tournament coming up right now. Let's go for it. Let's go for the challenge. And I love Taekwondo, but I always wanted to make sure that I was a bit more well-rounded and had some grappling. Just wanted to sort of test myself in that sort of more less clinical situation, I guess, than a Taekwondo tournament. And Yeah, and after that first night, I actually lost my first one. But I got knocked down first round. I think maybe even twice. I can't remember now. But came back, etc. And having the atmosphere as well, and was an absolute buzz. And I thought, okay, I like this. This could be another challenge. And I think actually, like half of a lot of my issues came from that. I was just doing so much, and at the time, you were telling me the same, that I was doing too much, and I did the standard young man thing of yes sir, and then carried on doing what I was doing anyway. but I was sort of balancing an international taekwondo competition career with a sort of national level kickboxing career as well, and I was also dabbled a bit with MMA. Excuse me. I was doing a lot of jiu-jitsu and stuff. It's been the past now, but and Muay Thai and stuff like that. And I did think about competing in MMA. I did sort of train and fight Tuesday nights. I used to do 2 hours with yourself, and then as soon as the class finished, so it was like 9 p.m. I'd run over, grab my bag, sprint out for I think and it was like a 9:30 to 11 or something crazy. Session with Kevin O'Hagan in Bristol. And I was sort of running my dobok, take my dobok off, put the MMA shorts on, and dive in and do an hour and a half with them. And I really enjoyed that. But but when I realised that actually I had so much to learn in jiu-jitsu and grappling, where I was kind of used to like being a sort of expert in striking, and then it was the realization, okay, I've got so much to learn how. For you know what, I'll just do this for a bit of fun and compete in the kickboxing, because I've sort of got it just played to my advantages a little bit more. But I had a few sort of nasty concussions throughout taekwondo and kickboxing, but I think that the combination of both was really sort of where I had some issues. I had to sort of when I stopped kickboxing was I was to and fro between the kickboxing fight and the taekwondo tournament, and I got knocked out in one, and then I sort of fought again maybe 4 or 5 weeks later or so, which I can look back now and that's insanity. You know, if it was my son doing that, knowing what I know, my dad's not a martial artist, he doesn't really much about it, but if I was looking back, there's no way I would have let myself, or now I look at it through the lens of a father, no way I'd let my son do that. But at the time, you don't save yourself from yourself, do you? No. And
you just go for it. Well, again, it's really tough, because a few years ago, I think about 3 years ago, I decided that I was going to start BJJ. With Pat Reeves in Swindon, and I contact him. Yeah, well, he's hopefully his podcast will be out soon. I did chat with him last week, actually.
Oh, fantastic!
So he'll be out soon. But I decided I was going to do some BJJ with him, and I was all set up. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to get this. And then in the end, I thought, what are you doing? And I had to say to myself, look, you're going to want to do it, and if you like it, you're going to want to do it really well.
Yeah.
So best not to start. So in the end, I had to stop myself from starting, because I knew that if I loved it, I would want to go, and I wouldn't have the time, and and it was just too much. And I decided, I'm just going to not do it.
Yeah,
and that was the thing. Now, going back, if that was 25 years, I would have done it. I would have done it, definitely. I played football. I was a keen footballer, and I played football while I was doing taekwondo. And it came to the point that when I was starting to fight internationally, I was trying to do two, both together, and I couldn't, and I had to give up football. But even then, I did. After a few years of giving up, I went back for another season again, and I thought, this is ridiculous. I can't do both. But similar, I was sort of training on a Friday and teaching, and then on a Saturday or a Sunday, playing quite a high standard of football at the time. But I just had to stop it. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? It's particularly for jiu-jitsu as well. Obviously, you can relate with hips. It's not gentle on your hips, and particularly if you've got somebody trying to pass your guard, and when they put their knee over the inside of your leg and they're pushing that hip down when you've got arthritis and damage in there already, it's really uncomfortable. Sort of about. I think similar. I did in my head. I sort of thought, maybe I'll do some jiu-jitsu, but then right now it's the payoff's not worth it.
No.
That's a major difference that I found now in the last sort of couple of years when I stopped competing was now I get to train for health and fun and lifestyle rather than training for competition. Yeah. And I think people don't realize the difference between the two. Like, an athlete, whatever the sport is, they're not trying to be like, the number one thing is performance, and you just do what you can to win, whatever that is. But that will ultimately come at the neglect of something else. And it's I think, I'm not sort of saying that people, don't really sort of understand, but a lot of people that do martial arts as a hobby, and for like health and fitness, if you're doing it a few times a week, at a decent level that sort of pushes you, etc., then it is really good for your health. Yeah. But trying to become the world champion means that you're pushing your body to the point. Like, you have to push it. You have to find where that limit is. You do, and to find that limit means going over it a couple of times and go, okay, this is where my sort of physical capabilities lie. And it's you look like you're super healthy, they see sort of six pack and lean and stuff like that. Oh wow, like it's like inside, I've got muscle cramps. So like, and I probably realistically fought a weight category that I could fit into when the ITF changed it from like 82 to 78, and I sort of had to come down that extra couple of kilos was, probably not the best thing for me overall. But in terms of me winning a competition, I had a better chance of winning at 78 than I did at 85. So that's what I did. But now, funnily enough, I am walking around about 86, 87 as a natural weight now. Well, trying to force my body to.
Well, I get you, and people ask me now, and I say, well, for me, I love doing my martial arts, but it's all about longevity. It's about training and keeping my body at a good, strong level, but without that line. And it is a fine dividing line. I remember. I think it was Sebastian Coe when he was racing, said that line between full fitness and sickness is such a fine line. And if you go over that, because he was always getting colds and whatever, but he was really pushing himself really, really hard.
That's a huge thing that I've noticed. As soon as I stopped competing, I stopped getting ill. Like 5% of what I used to. I used to constantly have a cold, like the winter came and stuff, and just because I was redlining the immune system all the time to keep training, which is another example of like actually training that extreme level. It's not good for your health at that point. It's good for your performance. And that performance and health is different, and that's why I'm enjoying being able to train for my health. I'm doing a lot more weightlifting now that looking back, I probably would have benefited from doing a bit more. I always did a little bit, but it was sporadic and, maybe up to a competition and then, and sort of weight gain and stuff like that. Whereas now, I sort of lift 3 times a week or so. And oh my God, the difference that it's made just from structurally just feeling a bit more sound, and my back pain as well. Deadlifting and squatting has probably made the biggest difference for my lower back pain. Plus the hip replacement that made a big difference as well. But
but I think it's, this is fantastic. So I hope those people who are still in competition listen to this, because sometimes I look back and I think if there was anything I could have done differently, I would have had more recovery time between my hard sessions. Because as far as I was concerned, I was having a hard session Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and that's what I did. Luckily enough, my body didn't break down at all. But again, I've had a hip operation, so it did take its toll on me. But I think recovery is so important, and the difficulty is sometimes, particularly at that naive age, we think that more is going to be better, and it isn't always.
What I think though is maybe almost like a bigger issue is that actually the people we're talking to is such a small percentage of people.
Yes.
Because the vast majority of people go, oh yeah, I need to rest. And that they're not doing it at that high. We're talking to people that, are training 6 days a week, couple of times a day, etc. I think for the vast majority of people that aren't competing at that elite level, I think some people hear that message and they kind of go, oh right, yeah, I need to rest. It's like, well, you need to rest after you've pushed yourself. That's the point. It's not rest.
Yeah,
raise it a little bit, but unfortunately, I don't know. Obviously, I've been in martial arts for meaningful amount of time, and you've been even longer. So, what do you think? How do you see the difference between the competition athletes from your generation to my generation to now? What do you think is the main difference?
It's a tough one. I think the mentality is the same. Mm-hmm. I think what is different is the way that perhaps people train now. I do see a little bit more what I would call scientific training now.
Yeah.
Up to when I was training, and to a certain degree, then you were left to your own devices about how to train for a competition. There wasn't so much advice. What I tended to do was I tended to look at other sports. I looked at the way that the boxers sort of trained. Luckily, I had a good sort of set of friends who did different sort of different athletic disciplines that I could speak to about what they did. So, for example, myself and Mastro, we decided that we were going to incorporate sprints into our training. And we used to do that before one of our junior classes in Bath. And that made a difference as well, in getting us just getting that explosive off the mark energy, tip top. So it's just little things like that. Whereas I think now there's a lot more information available. You can look on the internet, you can speak to people. So it was a bit more then sort of leaving it to your own devices. And to be honest, it was that competitions thing you could say was still very new. And now you could probably go to a competition every weekend. Not so much then. Certainly not from a taekwondo perspective. You could go to all styles ones, which we did. So you enter kung fu, karate, taekwondo, But certainly from a taekwondo perspective, there's a lot more. So I think there's a lot more information out there for people. Definitely.
Definitely, yeah. I think even from my, I was kind of lucky in that I was like a teenager really, and then the sort of information that the internet started, resources started becoming more available, other than because it was sort of books and word of mouth. And some people had some bad advice.
Definitely.
Some people had some excellent advice, and it's you've got to kind of figure it out. But 100%. I'd say that the current ITF world champions, they are probably the best athletes in the history of taekwondo, because as you say, you talk about the sort of sprints being like a thing that you guys sort of, that would probably work, whereas for us now it's like that's accepted thing. It's like, of course you do sprints, you know, like we do them in class. So we do more, etc. But so I guess the standing on the shoulders of giants, I guess, is an appropriate term.
Yeah, definitely. And I, you know, I mean, there are some. There's been some obviously skillful athletes in all eras, and I think it's a bit like the football rugby thing. You know, would this person have done well in this era? I think if people have done well way back, they would have done well now. You know, because you still got that sort of mentality. It does bring me on to my next thing that I was going to ask, because when I first started competing, I was at home with my mum and I was eating very well, and I didn't really have any sort of what I would call diet or food regimes, food protocols. But that would have been something that I would love to have explored a bit more when I was competing. I just wondered whether you got into that. You sort of alluded about, you know, the fact that you came from one division down to another from a weight perspective. I actually went the other way. I went up a division, and actually found that I was much stronger. I was quicker at a lighter weight, but at a slightly heavy weight, I was much stronger. So I don't know. Perhaps you could sort of allude to that. You know, diet, and weight.
I've like experimented with my diet quite a lot over the years, and it's changed quite a lot. In my early 20s, I tried vegetarianism for 9 months or so.
Ooh, and me.
And I'm a lean guy as it is, but my face just went so gaunt. And I think it's at that point that I realised that actually literally everybody is different. If you look, my brother has been vegetarian since he was like 6-7 years old, something like that. And if you looked at us both and said which one's vegetarian, you definitely pick me, whereas I eat loads of meat. So I experimented a lot with it, and as I said, it was very much dependent on where kickboxing would have slightly different weight categories, and so it's sort of, you know, it might be that I'd have to be 82 kilos, you know, this way, and then 6 weeks later I've got to be, you know, 80 kilos or 79 or whatever. Whereas kind of doing different tournaments and different styles, etc., I was very much stuck to like what weight I need to be and get the sort of the macros in. I sort of very much like meats, veg, some fruit, etc. You know, the kind of normal common sense stuff.
Sure.
And when I was training twice a day and competing as much, like I could have quite a few carbs. I just needed it, and it would sort of burn straight off. And whereas, you know, I don't need that as much now. I actually find it much easier now. Because I was quite sort of regimented with what I eat. I eat the same thing for like breakfast, lunch, and it's just my sort of, you know, evening, very early evening meal, sort of main meal that changes each day. But that's, you know, some kind of form of meat, some kind of form of veg or salad or nuts or whatever, and then you know, maybe some carbs, because I'm still training every day, so I do have some carbs. I find that like I just perform a little bit better with some in there. That's, you know, I sort of read a lot about different diet types and stuff like that, but I just find having a little bit of carbs just gives me that little bit of extra energy to keep going for me. Sure. I've tried some intermittent fasting stuff, and I guess I do kind of still do that. Like I'm not timing myself. It's just I timed myself for a period of time, and then I kind of like, okay, I'll stop doing that. But I've found myself naturally. I'm a postman now, so I start work at 6 o'clock, and I'm done by 2. So I sort of do a lot of eating then, and then just have one sort of late afternoon, early evening meal, and then just leave it until the next day.
Okay.
And and I just try and make sure I have a bit of fish every day. bit of salad every day, bit of veg every day, and a different kind. And I just vary the meats that I have in the middle. Protein shake, do some creatine, and a multivitamin. And some fish oils as well. But I find that for me is I can be consistent with it, because I think that's a lot of problem with diets, is that people, they try and do these extreme things, etc. That it's like, if you know that you're not going to stick to that for the rest of your life or a meaningful period of time, okay, yes, you can do a full week transformation, but
sure,
how much good are you getting that in the long run? Probably not much. It's done quite well, and finding myself something that I prepare my food for work the next day, every day before I go to bed, get it all ready, tuna salad wrap in the fridge, and my fruit, my shake, etc., and protein bar, and I eat at the same time every day as well. Apart from the only thing is the evening meal, but that's more just family life. If Marley, come back and Marley needs to do something, or we're going out or something like that, then that might vary a little bit. But everything else is very regimented, which means I can just stick to it. And then I have the same food. It works for me. I'm lean, but I've just added some muscle onto me, which I feel better for, and happy now. But it took a lot of experimenting and playing with to find what worked for me. And I think a lot of people just kind of go for a fad and then just go back to whatever they're doing anyway.
Well, I mean, I can sort of relate to that. I mean, I was vegetarian for a while as well. I didn't really do very well on it. I've got more of a meat-based diet now, but I have introduced some just a little bit of fruit into my diet, which I'm still feeling good on. I think what happens is we don't listen to our bodies enough. We need to. Our bodies will tell us everything we need to know as long as we listen, and we listen closely. And things like illness. I mean, I had COVID early July. Got over that very quickly. So I'm hoping that was.
So sorry, I've got to stop you there. You're not allowed to talk about COVID and diet being an effective thing to battle illnesses. There is only one option, and that's the government's option, and that's what we've got to stick with, sir.
I know. I got to be careful on that. But I'm hoping my metabolic health was good, and I recovered very quickly. And it
funny that you're healthy and you have a good diet and you exercise and you recover quickly.
I know.
Crazy.
And, people are going, "Oh my gosh, were you okay, Rico?" I said, "Well, yeah, I felt worse actually." But anyway, I'll stop there. But on that note, I'd like to finish this podcast at that particular moment. But I would like to come back and do a part 2 with you, because this is fascinating, and I'm sure people are going to love this. So let's do a part 2. Talk about some of the other things, and we could take it from there. And I still miss you in my class, and I know you're going to come back and do a little bit of teaching very, very soon. So I'd just like to say thank you very, very much for taking part in this, and hopefully we can get together again soon.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I'm very much looking forward to coming back, doing a bit of teaching for you and seeing everyone, and introducing Marley, and happy days. Look forward to it. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone that's listened. Hope I didn't repeat myself too much.
Okay.